Yo, Eric Dubois with EDP-Beats.com, and today I want to give you guys 3 tips on how to prep your studio session and make sure that you walk out of there with the best track. So the first tip is the beat. A good track is all about a good beat. So you probably bought your beat on BeatStars, or it's your own beat, or from a friend that produces as well. But there's a few things you need to know about that beat before being able to go in the studio session. First of all is make sure to check that it's an unmastered version. Now there's a few slight differences between a mastered and unmastered version. Usually all the beats, if you go on BeatStars, if you go on my website, all of my beats are unmastered when you purchase it so that it's high quality, directly ready for the studio. An unmastered version will actually give you room to be able to record vocals over it and then master it all together at the end so that it sounds like a one cohesive piece of work. And it doesn't just sound like you laid vocals on top of a beat, you know what I mean? You want to make sure everything blends well together. So the easiest way to make sure if your beat is unmastered is already you're going to hear it, it's at a very low volume. I'm going to show you 2 examples. This is a mastered version. As you can see, it's nice and full, so there's not a lot of room for you to lay your vocals on it. And here's an unmastered version where you see there's a lot more, it's lower, so there's still some room for you to be able to lay your vocals on it, and that's what you want. If you don't have an unmastered version, just hit your producer up, send them an email, say, hey, how much does it cost for the unmastered? Some people charge a little more. If not, just ask them, hey, I got the mastered version, I'm looking for the unmastered. Is there a way for you to hook me up, send me the unmastered, I'm going to a studio session? You know, just be open and be honest with them, and for sure they're gonna send you the unmastered version, no problem. The second thing about the beat and the instrumental is just to book your studio time. Go right ahead and book it 1 week, 2 weeks in advance. It depends how much time you need to write, but just go ahead and book your studio session. That's gonna give you a deadline, it's gonna keep you more focused, and you're gonna start writing and preparing for everything there. If you don't book your studio session, I have artists that take like months for them to get some lyrics down. They're not happy with it, they're not going anywhere with it. So just book your studio session right away, right after you've purchased the beat, so that you have a deadline and a time frame to be able to work on that track. You don't want to spend like a year working on one track. That's never gonna do any good for you. So go ahead and book straight that studio session, and then you're good to go. The second tip I want to tell you guys is to prep. So preparation is everything. When you go to the studio, if you come here to my studio, it's a 2-hour session. That's plenty of time to be able to record a track if you've got the lyrics, the backing vocals, the idea and the vision in mind already ready to go, so that I can just lay it down, do some mixing, and you can walk out of there with the full track ready to put up on Spotify. Make sure you have an idea of the backing vocals that you want behind there. Make sure you're happy with every single lyric that you wrote. Make sure you have a kind of vision of the track. You know, do you want it to sound more like T-Pain? Do you want some auto-tune on it, heavy? Do you want some reverb? Do you want it to sound low? Do you want your vocals to be doubled like Eminem in a way? You know, just start envisioning the sound and what you want for the track before you go to the studio session. That's gonna save you a whole bunch of time, and it's gonna save a big headache for the mixing engineer to try to find what you want. Second, practice. Practice, practice, practice. So when you're at home before the studio session, make sure you practice. Make sure you're doing it like it's a live version. So you have the beat, you have the instrumental. Just practice it like you're doing a live show. Make sure you know where your breaths are gonna be. Make sure you know your lyrics are fitting in the right way, or are we gonna have to record them one take at a time, you know, just build the track like that. Make sure you already know that before going into the studio session, so that can at least, that'll make your life so much more easier. It'll make that session just flow. In 2 hours you'll be able to write that track down in no worries. A 2-hour session seems like a long time, but if you don't have your lyrics ready, if you don't know the sounds that you want, you know, it's not, you're gonna be doing takes and takes and takes and takes, and time just flies by. I know that in 2 hours, I have some guys that I can do 2 tracks in 2 hours because everything's ready, everything's good to go, and they just flow right out of it, and they know already the sounds and the effects that they want. So I can get 2 tracks done in 2 hours, no problem. If you're more of a freestyle rapper, that's a different thing, because if you're gonna go in the studio session and you wanna write in the session, be ready to do more sessions. Be ready to not be happy with your track when you're done with the session, you know what I mean? Because you might listen to it again, you might say, oh shit, that phrase was not that good, I want to do it again, and you might have to go back in, re-record over it, you know? So that's kind of the problem with freestyle rappers. So if you're that style, that's cool, that's fine, I've worked with a bunch of them, so there's no problem at all, but be prepared to do it again, try it again, get back into session, maybe book another session, you know? It's kind of complicated, so be sure you know what you're gonna do, how the song is gonna sound like, and what your vision of the entire track is gonna be, and that's gonna make your studio session so much better. The third tip is to be open to change. Might sound stupid, I know, but the mixing engineer, the producer that's with you in studio might have some other ideas, might have another vision, might feel that your voice goes on something else, might want to do, some edits on the beat, Be open to those changes. He might come up with a great idea that you didn't think about. Two brains are better than one. And being able to bounce off ideas with someone else that's as passionate as you are is better than just showing your track to a homie that's right sitting next to you while you're preparing the lyrics. It's a different deal. So be open to change. Same thing, if you don't like something, be honest. That's a big point as well. If you don't like what the mixing engineer is doing or the producer, if you don't like your vocals to sound too high, if you don't like that auto-tune, if you don't like that reverb, anything, just make sure to speak up and let him know right away, and that's gonna avoid you being disappointed, that's gonna avoid him being frustrated, it's gonna avoid so many problems. So be honest, because the producer and the engineer, they're gonna be honest with you. So that's it. So go ahead, purchase a beat, get it ready, write down the lyrics, practice like it's a live version, send the beat off to the mixing engineer or the producer before your studio session so he knows what to do with it. Go into the studio fully prepared, fully amped, fully ready, record your vocals, and be open. Those are the 3 tips to make the best studio session ever. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you want the behind the scenes of the video, I have the Patreon cam right here, so check out my Patreon and you can have the full video, unedited, and some extra tips that I throw in there for them as well. So check out my Patreon page, EDP-Beats.com. Follow me on Instagram. I shoot out a bunch of tips pretty much every day and just kind of see what's going on in my day-to-day life and how we can try to make some pennies with music. So yeah, peace out, aloha, and then hope to see you guys soon.